Hello, hello. Welcome to the continuity report at ohmTown. Today we're going to be talking about the impossible train scene. It's always Wednesday in ohmTown. Pairs of movies, real-world fantasy shows, an Oscar without nomination, H.G. Wells-based movies, classics we knew before they were cool. Rust is a hot mess dumpster fire of amateur mistakes. Reacher Book 3. Pilots that land their show. I'm Mayor Watt. That's ohmTown.com. That's the source of all of our news by proxy because I aggregate all kinds of information into it. And up above me is the AI that keeps me sane because I'm trapped in this little box. AI, you ready to do the show?
I am. Hello, continuity reporters.
Let's get into it. So we already have all 10 articles all lined up. We are seeking additional sources for news. So you might see some popular names here, but we'll get through it. This is a weekly show. Today is January 21st, 2024. This is Season 1, Episode 3. So the glue is still drying on the wings. From here, it gets copied over to YouTube. It gets turned into a podcast. It'll be kicking off at the end of the month. We'll actually have 4 episodes for you to consume. But this is how it works. Over at ohmTown, where we aggregate all kinds of news, it goes into a bunch of categories, 6 main categories, and then 50 sub-channels. One of them is Reality Hacker, that's Saturday's show, and the other is the Continuity Report. That's this show. That's where all of our information comes from, primarily. The very first article is right here. How Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning pulled off that epic train scene. Getting all the paperwork through was huge, is a quote that's in the title. Because the Variety really likes long titles, apparently.
They want the whole paragraph in the title.
That's right. Infamous train scene, Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. Apparently the name changed for Netflix, or what did I read?
Oh, for Paramount.
Paramount.
That was in a separate submission.
Yeah, kind of interesting, right? Like, how in the world, why? But what was it over at Paramount? Do you remember?
They lopped off the Part 1.
Oh.
And now they're going to do something with the numbering or whatever for the next one.
They're going to put a 2. They didn't want it in the first one, but they're like, oh, snap, we don't know what else to do.
I'm not really sure what the end game is there, but
yeah. So Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1's infamous train scene was meant to take place aboard the Orient Express as it roars through the Swiss Alps, which for production is a big request if you're not shooting on location. That's interesting. We scouted a few places and ended up in Norway, says the film's cinematographer, Fraser Taggart. So let's go over to the source for this. Yeah, I remember this scene. It was pretty cool. Jazz Tankay, I guess is their name. I'm really sorry if I'm mispronouncing it, but they're over at variety.com. And so they had scouted a bunch of places, ended up in Norway. For practicality, Norway ended up being the perfect location. Not only did Taggart have a good relationship with Norway after we filmed Fallout there. How many people can say?
Important.
Yeah, they've got a good relationship with an entire country.
With another country.
Yeah, we're on a first name basis. I call it Norway. Sometimes, when we're drunk, I just say Nor. Yeah, that's how it is, Like when I get drunk and I'm talking to the AI, I just go, hey.
You turn Canadian.
Hey? It's a beer truck, eh? In the film, Tom Cruise performed a stunt that has been billed as the most death-defying one of his acting career thus far. He rides a motorcycle off the edge of a cliff and then parachutes to safety while in free fall. On top of that, there would be a fight atop the moving steam engine. Dear God, I got out of bed this morning. After showing a proof of concept and explaining that safety precautions were in place, the shoot was approved. Taggart's biggest challenge was navigating how to make the motorcycle jump and fight work. That's usually all right. I'm gonna leave it alone. That's usually how it works. Furthermore, Taggart didn't want the film to have a Hollywood aesthetic to it, which, right, okay, jumping a dirt bike off of a hill onto a train, parachuting,
It's normal everyday occurrence.
and then a fight on a steam engine of that train has nothing Hollywood aesthetic to it. The environment's low light lent itself to the gritter? They have a typo, right? That should be grittier look after he was after. One decision was not to shoot on film. While the previous films had been done on 35 millimeter, it wasn't going to happen this time around. He explains he would have to stop the train every 2 minutes and reload. Yeah, that would suck. We would need 200-foot mags on the cameras. On digital, they could have shot for 30 to 40 minutes. This is the beauty. And you can, I know that people are like, oh my God, no, it has to be done on film. That's the only way that you can get film cinematic quality. No, you can introduce it in post. I know, I'm probably an idiot, but to pull the fight off, there were hydraulic rigs that would tilt up to 30 degrees, so physically everyone is being affected by gravity, Taggart said. Still hugely dangerous because you're so high up, but to make it practical, the cameras were 100 to 150 feet in the air. When it came time for action, Taggart recalls, I watched Haley Atwell on the first take, and she ran on the huge tilting rig. She just leapt at the end to get her landing on the second carriage, but then disappears out of view from the camera. She was obviously buzzing with adrenaline, and I remember Tom saying, you effing did that, girl, that was brilliant. Oh, Tom
I think
said
it's
that.
missing a comma.
Yeah. I can imagine, what's his name? I just forgot his name.
It's like you go girl, kind of.
Yeah, I just forgot his name. Tom Cruise. Jesus.
Tom Cruise?
Yeah. I picture him doing that, like, finger gun, pew pew. You effing did that, girl. That was brilliant. Yeah, that kind of thing. Yeah, I get it. So that's all there was to it. To this article. There's more in the article, some minutia, but basically, getting all of the paperwork was huge, and the train scene was actually done digitally and actually done by Tom Cruise. He jumped that motorcycle.
It was pretty spectacular. It did look like Hollywood in the sense of it being kind of fantastical. I'm not saying like what did the visual look like, but it was very over the top, but that's kind of customary in an action movie.
Right. Yeah, it was amazing. We've always liked the Mission Impossible movies, from the very first one to the current one. We're waiting for the second half of this. But I don't think we've ever been displeased with the movies. I'm not really a Tom Cruise fan, but I like the work. I don't think he's really been, well, I mean, it seems kind of creepy to me, but.
Well, the franchise is definitely entertaining.
Yeah, definitely. It's a lot of fun. It's a good, fun, no-brainer watch, and you won't be too disappointed. So yeah, pretty neat. Let's keep on going though. The next article is over in the continuity report. I'm going to work on transitions for the next show, but I want unique ones for each show. So anyway, be prepared. Come over and become a citizen here on Twitch. Go over to YouTube. Sign up over on ohmTown.com. You can actually customize your feed and stuff, and you'll enjoy it. I think that you'll enjoy ohmTown.com. It's a great place to stay. Jenna Ortega says Wednesday season 2 scripts are more action-packed, have more horror, and each episode feels a bit more like a movie.
Wow, since season 1 was good, this is a good start.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. That's why I labeled this section "It's Always Wednesday in ohmTown." So Jenna Ortega told E! on the Emmys red carpet that she received some scripts for the second season of Wednesday, her Netflix mega hit that debuted in fall of 2022. Became one of the streamer's most watched original series of all time. Production on season 2 got delayed by the Hollywood strikes last year, but it's expected to pick up filming here in 2024. Zach Sharf over at Variety put the article together. I don't know if people know about this, but Jenna Ortega actually has the ability to stop blinking for extended periods of time. This isn't a camera
Okay,
trick.
that's odd, but I guess that's good with that character.
Yeah. And so what ended up happening was she goes, "Hey, I'd like to try this. I don't have to blink." And they're like, "Go for it." Fell in love with that element of her character and then was that throughout the rest of the show. So apparently she has this ability to turn off her blink reflex, which is it's just awesome in the
Unhuman.
show. That's right. So we're definitely leaning into a little bit more horror, Ortega said, and an update to fans. It's really, really exciting because all throughout the show, while Wednesday does need a little bit of an arc, she never really changes, and that's the wonderful thing about her. Yeah, because she doesn't need to change, right? She's got her shit together. So, although I mean, she's still Wednesday Addams for crying out loud. So Wednesday's moving production from Romania to Ireland for season 2 and is tentatively scheduled to start shooting in April. Variety confirmed last November. The series follows Jen Ortega as the titular. There it is again, titular.
It's
Addams
always
family.
there.
It's always there.
They're
Something
having
is
like
titular.
some sort of contest. Like work that into every article.
Yeah, really. That's probably somebody's doctoral thesis. In entertainment, a further journalism degree, right? They're writing a position paper. In entertainment journalism, titular is the most used word.
Yeah, I think so.
It was announced in December that Netflix was developing a spin-off centered around Fred Armisen's Fester. Wednesday also features Catherine Zeta-Jones as Morticia Addams, Louise Guzman as Gomez Addams, and Isaac Ordenez as Pugsley Addams. Pardon me. I used to watch the Addams Family, the actual show Addams Family. I loved it.
The original?
Yeah. Don't judge me. Thoroughly enjoyed it. I would probably want to do like when this new season comes out, I would probably like to do like a whole continuity report, group watch kind of a thing, and we talk about the show. Maybe if we can expand the amount of time that we dedicate to the show, like make it 2 hours and we talk about an episode like once a month or something like that.
Right.
Or we can do it separately and make it part of the subscription over on
Patreon.
Patreon. Yeah, thank you. Gosh. Anyway, we're ditching any romantic love interest for Wednesday. Great. Which is really great, she added, which is what I just said. Referring to the season 1 storyline that saw Wednesday in love triangle between Tyler Galpin, Hunter Dewin, and Xavier Thorpe, Percy Hines White. In the past, Ortega has commented that the plot made no sense for her character, correct? So, ta-da, that's it. It's going to be really fun to watch season 2. And I really liked the story and the writing and the characters. I don't know who all is going to be in this in the second season. But apparently it's going to be bigger, badder, scarier, darker than.
Yeah, and with a different filming location, that's going to be interesting too, to see if they move the setting and the story.
Yeah, that'll be interesting, right? Oh, we moved the school, right? Because she's supposed to be in school still, but I don't know.
Right.
We don't know what the story
so
actually
maybe
is.
Right, we don't know what the premise is for that season.
Maybe she's on vacation. So again, Zach Scharf over at Variety.com. Let's keep on going. The next article is over in the continuity report as well. 10 pairs of movies we really wish were in the same universe. Big franchises with shared universe have become more common in Hollywood movies recently, but there are some less obvious links between films which could be more interesting. The MCU has or is the biggest example of a shared cinematic universe, but Star Wars, Star Trek, and more have been hopping on the trend with interconnected spin-offs and prequels. However, the possibility of other movies could be secretly linked is just as exciting. Even though they haven't been confirmed, these pairs of movies are linked by fan theories and subtle Easter eggs. So this is This is put
I've got
together.
one in mind.
Yeah. Oh, and I see this. Okay, so Alien and Blade Runner are in the same universe. It actually takes place. I've been told that it doesn't take place together, but they are in the same because of a corporation. Ben Prothero is the author of this article over at ScreenRant.com. Johnny Utah from Point Break could have become John Wick, transitioning from law enforcement to contract killing. Groundhog Day and Midnight in Paris may exist in a shared universe with temporal irregularities all over the world. Quentin Tarantino's alternative history might put Inglourious Bastards and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood in the same timeline. And that's their summary, but they have others in here. So Point Break, I'll be okay. Point Break and John Wick. Look at that. A young Keanu.
I don't even recognize the young Keanu compared to the current Keanu.
It looks babyface, you know? Not a hair to have to shave off of a cheek or chin there, you know? Johnny Utah could have gone down a different path after finding Bodhi, right? Yeah. So Point Break and John Wick. Groundhog Day and Midnight in Paris, time travel movies with similar rules. A lot of people may not realize this, but Groundhog Day was actually like 10,000 years that he spent in that time loop, becoming a subject matter expert across a whole host of things before figuring out how to get out.
I think they kind of downplay that in the movie.
Yeah. I don't remember Midnight in Paris, so I can't really say much. It says most time travel movies have a time machine or wormholes or some other contrivance to transport the characters into a different era. Groundhog Day and Midnight in Paris both feature accidental methods of time travel instead. Whether reporter Phil finds himself stuck in a time loop in Groundhog Day and struggling author Gil is able to travel back in time just by accepting a ride from a stranger in Midnight to Paris. The movies could exist in a shared universe where time anomalies appear and disappear all over the world. Time flies. Or Aerith, the storybook universe that I noodle around in of my own creation. How about Ghostbusters and The Shining? Gozer provides a link to evils much stronger than Slimer. But The Shining is how is this linked together? I'm really curious. How do they... This means that the team could feasibly be inserted into any great ghost movie, and they could have saved Jack at the end of The Shining if they had gone to the Overlook Hotel. So, if I recall The Shining correctly, the Overlook Hotel is sentient.
Oh, okay. Well, then maybe that does fit.
But The Shining is a reference to the energy that a person gives off, shine. How this is all linked together, I suppose Overlook Hotel could be the focus of a Ghostbuster type adventure. Pretty neat. I think it's interesting that a movie about Ghostbusters involving a deep freeze of New York was announced right before a deep freeze of New York took place.
Well, that is interesting.
So maybe they're willing it into existence. How about The Creature from the Black Lagoon and The Shape of Water? If you've never seen either of these, The Shape of Water involves another life form that is in water. And The Creature from the Black Lagoon is that right there, this old black and white movie. There's been iterations of it, but Guillermo del Toro's Amazonian creature in The Shape of Water bears more than passing resemblance to the Gill Man from Creature from the Black Lagoon. Del Toro was interested in remaking the Universal creature feature, but his ideas eventually made it into The Shape of Water instead. The story tells a different story. The story tells a slightly different story. If I recall correctly, the woman falls in love with the creature. But The Shape of Water is a much less threatening portrayal. So the creature shows interest in human women. Drive and Nightcrawler. Nightcrawler is from the MCU. Drive is a movie about the driver of a getaway vehicle.
Oh, well, maybe they should have Drive and Baby Driver together.
Right? Isn't that right? Drive and Nightcrawler both delve into the seedy underbelly of Los Angeles, and they share similar visual styles. The streets in both movies are bathed in the glow of the streetlights, but there's still danger lurking around everywhere. Lewis and Nightcrawler is an aspiring crime journalist, so he would be keen interest. Oh, it's a different Nightcrawler. I'm sorry. He would take a keen interest in the actions of the driver. Both men listen intently to police scanners, although he goes toward the police. One goes toward the police, and the other tries to avoid them. Nightcrawler is I think, a killer, right?
It's a journalist.
Yeah, I know, but
So I mean, there might be more to it.
It's about a killer. Nightcrawler is a killer. I think I may have this all mixed up now. So, if the men were to cross paths, it'd likely be a huge scoop for Lewis, who is the crime journalist, versus, so you would be keen interest in the actions of the driver. So now I'm curious. I'm gonna have to go and watch these because I haven't seen this. But it might be an interesting pairing because it's kind of like Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory and Snowpiercer. They're connected.
Exactly.
Coming to America and Trading Places. They basically are in the same
right.
universe.
I mean, that's kind of the same era.
Yep. So if you've never seen it, Coming to America is a prince comes to New York to find his queen. A king comes to find his queen, and he goes to Queens. I'm really sorry about the coughing. And in Trading Places, two ultra rich people, well, very wealthy white old men, make a bet to flip a wealthy white person's position with a downtrodden black person's position, and they conspire to make this happen. And then the script gets flipped again. You'll have to go and watch Trading Places. It's kind of, to me, it's brilliant. It really shows that we're more a product of opportunity and accidents, while a lot of other people are benefiting from nepotism and connections that not everybody has access to. So it's not necessarily that we all have the same playing field, right? So it's a really interesting, fun watch. Trading Places. Coming to America is just a fun watch because it amounts to a person finding the true love in an effort to, as their dad says, sow their oats. Snatch and The Gentleman. I haven't actually seen either of these. Guy Ritchie paints a stylized portrait of British gangsters. This might be interesting to watch, but I haven't seen either of these. Upcoming TV adaptation of The Gentleman could provide further clues about links to Snatch, although it features a new cast of characters, so not necessarily. Inglourious Bastards and Once Upon a Time in America. If you've never seen Inglourious Bastards, you just got to watch it. I mean, Quentin Tarantino's alternative history movie creates a what-if scenario, but it's unclear if they align with the same universe. In Inglourious Bastards, a team of allies plot the assassination of Adolf Hitler and other Nazi leaders in a movie theater in Paris. They actually make a bomb, but then somebody messes up. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is set over 20 years later, and it imagines a different outcome to the Manson family murders in Los Angeles. Rick Dalton and Cliff Booth make a couple of allusions to the Second World War. Yeah, interesting. It's an alternate reality. So that's number 3, and then Alien and Blade Runner, they are literally in the same universe, although I think they've been told that, I've heard that that's not quite true, but Tyrell Corporation is the tie between both of them. They're in both movies.
Right, so there's an actual connection, not a perceived one.
Yeah. And it may be actually, and I just missed where it's been overtly said. It says, but Ridley Scott's movies haven't had a meaningful crossover. And then Get Out and Being John Malkovich. If you've never heard of Get Out, you have to go and watch it. It is a spectacular movie.
Isn't that one revered, like just being
Oh yes,
really, really like, I don't know, genre changing or just really good?
yes, really, really good. The suspense is spectacular, and the way that it's portrayed, how this all works, and the cognizance that there is something going on, and knowing. So, let's see if I can. So the idea, the character knows that the tapping. I don't want to give it away. I can't. I can't talk about it. So it says, for all its bold originality, Jordan Peele's directorial debut, or directorial, right? Directorial debut shares a lot of in common with Spike Jonze's surrealist comedy, Being John Malkovich. Both movies focus on elderly people who are trying to maintain their youth by taking over other people's bodies. The process in Get Out seems more scientific compared to Being John Malkovich. Being John Malkovich. I'm an idiot. In which people enter some sort of portal to inhabit John Malkovich's body. So this discrepancy could just mean that the process has been refined over the years. Jordan Peele supports the Get Out theory, although it wasn't his intention to begin with. It's interesting, but that's a leap.
I mean, that's similar with Wonka and Snowpiercer, right? Like, supposedly no connection.
Yeah, but wow. So in that tie-in, even you saw candy bars inside the engine of the perpetual engine.
Exactly. Like, that was something I located, and I know other people did. It wasn't something that I found, but I agree. Like, there's a lot in there.
Yeah, I dig that show. Okay. There's more in this. Go and check it out. I'm probably going to end up watching a couple of these movie pairs because I'm not as informed about their content, and I don't like talking about stuff from a position of argumentative weakness. So we'll end up watching things. Anyway, let's keep on going. How about, again, over in the Continuity Report channel, 8 fantasy TV shows with real-world settings that actually make sense. Fantasy shows can be fascinating to watch, provided that they are believable in how they approach the fictional elements and incorporate them into the real-world setting. So let's go take a look at this. Again, it's over at Screen Rant. Margarita Askarova put the article together. I'm really sorry. I guess 5 hours worth of talking is wearing and tearing on my voice. So the summary, they say, is realistic elements make fantasy shows more engaging. Shows like Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Percy Jackson successfully blend fantasy and reality, combining fantastical concepts with everyday life creates compelling and relatable storytelling. Yes. In fact, a little lie and a whole lot of truth makes things more believable. That's kind of, storytelling. If you can blend a little bit of reality into your fantasy, people buy into it because they actually feel connected to it. Let's see if they have a list, top 10 list. Oh, it's actually top 8, right? So Supernatural, The Winchesters Hunt Monsters in Small Town America. I used to like this show. I think it lasted like 14 years. It was, wow. 15. And I didn't watch past the first season. And every time I go back and I try, I'm like, ugh. I can't get back into it. So maybe I need a couple more years, like Arrested Development. So it had great years, but it was in this world. It was in the United States, and they investigated the supernatural situations all over the United States. And it was because they witnessed, I think it was their mom or dad basically being snatched out of existence by a supernatural event in their front yard or something like that. But honestly, I think that it's a great show because I've watched little snippets, but I just can't commit because I want to watch all of it. but it's so overwhelming at this point. 15 seasons. But it might be fun.
It's a lot of episodes.
It might be fun. I know that I can't watch the show with the AI because there's a lot of stuff. Anyway, gruesome murders, police none the wiser, etc. So Buffy the Vampire Slayer, this was a fun watch. I watched it all 7 seasons when it kicked off. I think that it jumped the shark when the love interest and people are having babies and stuff like that.
It
Anytime
seems like
a baby
it's a little
is
off from the theme.
yeah. Buffy slays vampires in the fictional California town of Sunnydale. That is actually a hellmouth. It's where vampires and other supernatural stuff takes place. And this is where I thought it got stupid. Buffy and Spike's relationship felt exactly like an ordinary romance, or would, even if it weren't, between a teen slayer and a centuries-old vampire. So, come on. So Buffy the Vampire Slayer knew how to put the supernatural into a real world. But it was so matter of fact and plain that you didn't sit there and go, oh God, this is all gushy. And what is the channel that has all of the romance teen stuff? Angsty. What is that?
On what platform?
That network. Oh, I don't know. I don't know what you would call it nowadays.
Oh, is it a network?
Yeah.
Is it like CW or something?
Yeah, CW. Thank you. That's it. For whatever reason, I kept wanting to say CMT, but it's country music television. I don't think that's it. Percy Jackson and the Olympians. Percy Jackson and the Olympians, location on the 600th floor of the Empire State Building in New York makes a lot of sense. Shows rely heavily on Greek mythology, but it flawlessly combines ancient fantasy and modern reality. There's an ohmTown citizen that's watching this.
Yeah, this is new, right? I mean, it just came out in 2023.
Yeah, but I haven't seen any episodes of this, so this might be fun. It is a teenagers type of movie or show, but probably should take a gander at it. The show's realistic portrayal of awkward teenagers contributes to its high quality, and the fact that the demigods can't use gadgets because of the monsters is an appropriate metaphor for the sad truth of today. That's funny. All the olds don't know how to use gadgets. Wednesday, it takes place at a Nevermore Academy, and a quaint little outside world seems right. In season 1, Wednesday has faced a Hyde and Pilgrim ancestors and has tried to fit it into her school of supernatural beings. And who is to say what's harder? So, like any run-of-the-mill school, Nevermore Academy has evil cliques and two-faced teachers. Yeah, I mean, it was so believable, and the supernatural aspects of it weren't over the top.
I mean, you could watch it even if you weren't really interested in supernatural stuff.
Yeah. So, like, certain characters, like this character here, I can't remember her name. I think her real name is Emma Myers, right? Yeah. And this is Jenna Ortega. So she's like a werewolf, part of a pack, hasn't been able to develop her claws yet. During the first season, she does. Hopefully I don't ruin it for anybody by saying that. Wednesday Addams. Obviously, she's a chill character. Shows off her musical aptitude, and people take interest in it. Umbrella Academy, which I absolutely hated after season 1. I didn't like any of it. But it exists actually in the real world of today and apocalypse causing future or past, because time and time travel and everything involving it actually involves some children that grow up. They have supernatural powers that are scientifically, I guess, potentially realistic. I couldn't identify with any of the characters. This guy was a complete jackass, and but he
I
could.
mean, to me, that is the major downfall of any show. If you're like, you don't care what happens to any of the characters.
Yeah, I mean, but It's Always Sunny in whatchamacallit? What's it called? It's Always Sunny
Philadelphia?
in Philadelphia. Yeah, like all of the characters are even defined as the worst of the worst. Like they're just not likable characters, but everybody loves the show because it's kind of like Seinfeld. You go into it knowing that the characters aren't likable. It's like Schitt's Creek. The people aren't likable
Right.
because of just how self-involved they
But
are, but you love the actual show. It's the writing that really kicks it off. But I haven't gotten into It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia either. Lucifer, I actually watched most of the seasons. Actually, no, let me strike that. After season 3, I fell out of Lucifer, but it takes place on Earth at a bar, Los Angeles, quote unquote, the city of angels, as the article puts it, and is trying to bring hell to Earth. But Lucifer is trying to bow out of being the son of the devil. And then his mom shows up, and it's all just, at some point it just got stupid for me. Not everybody's like that, but I'd be happy to discuss it with anybody that's interested in discussing it. I'm not locked down. Charmed was awesome. All 8 seasons, I liked it. It was an appropriate level of supernatural to it. The Halliwell sisters banished demons in San Francisco. Their power was most powerful, or their magic was most powerful when all of them worked together as a team. So they had to communicate and learn, not to despise each other as some kids would do. Prue, Piper, Phoebe, and Paige. Paige is at the late, something happened and the 4th sister came into existence somewhere.
I thought it was a way to write one of the characters off, but
yeah. And I think it was this one. Yeah. So still the series. Shannon Doherty. Yeah, I think so. Yeah. So the Halliwell sisters discovered that they were witches, and they tried to find harmony in their magical duties and personal lives. It was actually pretty fun. It says demon fighting was a nice touch, but the sisters' desire for a normal life that kept the show relevant and plausible. Yeah. And then Good Omens. Saw a few episodes of the first season, and I didn't like any of the writing. I didn't like the characters. I couldn't get into it. David Tennant was a previous doctor from Doctor Who. And I still just I didn't like any of it. So Good Omens is a completely nonsensical and mostly logical story at the same time. An angel and a demon looking after the world since its creation, becoming partners, is a great idea for a fantasy show, but I didn't really feel much charisma or real character. But maybe I just didn't watch far enough. What makes the series even more convincing is the bureaucracy of heaven and hell, both of which are supposed to be well-run places with someone clever in charge. Neither can be described in such a manner. So the glass is of apparent perfection is shattered. Yeah, not
very
really
dramatic.
Yeah, so angel, demon kind of thing. Okay, well, that's it for that one. Let's keep on going, though. We've got a few more articles. Did I throw it all? I didn't throw that one into the chat. Forgive me. There we go. Let's keep going. We got a few more articles. So the next article, right? So that's that. And then here we go. So the continuity report. Sorry, did you want to say something? Or are you just watching me crash and burn?
I was just reacting.
What's happening? Okay. So there's the next article in the chat. One person won a competitive Oscar 88 years ago without nomination or without being nominated, but there's something missing from this title. It is considered an honor to win at the Oscars, but 88 years ago, one person managed to win the prestigious award without receiving a nomination. For a brief time during the early years of the Academy, the award ceremony, the Academy initiated a new system of voting after receiving controversy for ignoring certain performances for nominations.
That's interesting. Doesn't that sound like a current issue?
Yeah, really. One film involved in this unique voting system was the 1935 film A Midsummer Night's Dream. That's actually kind of an edgy film, man. Huh, okay. Oh, man, how do you pronounce that name? Edna?
Yes.
Edna? I'm really sorry. Gallagher. Edna Gallagher. In the history of the Oscars, only one person has ever won the award without receiving an actual nomination thanks to a unique voting campaign. And that's what it is now. It's a voting campaign. It's like an election. People offer up, I think this person should get it, that kind of thing, right?
Right, but they don't allow write-in, it says.
Right. Yeah. But it actually, I was told and had heard in various places that it's almost a marketing campaign. You try to get people to check the box for you.
It's almost like, will you vote for me?
Right. However, the Academy no longer allows write-in votes due to concerns about manipulations of the voting system. Yeah. So you have to do certain things to be allowed to be on the roster for an Oscar. We've talked about this in last week's episode, I think it was.
Yes.
You have to fit a certain envelope.
It's like when it's an amount of time, I think, of the film.
Yeah, locations.
And then there's a diversity inclusion component.
Yep. And the number of locations. You have to be in a certain number of screens to be accepted for an Oscar nomination. Adapted from the play by William Shakespeare, A Midsummer Night's Dream looks at the adventures of four young lovers and a troupe of actors who find themselves in a forest inhabited by fairies. And like I said, this is actually a pretty risque movie or play. Really depends on how you see it, because
especially for the time frame.
Yeah, 1936, right? It won 2 Academy Awards in 1936, but one of its awards was received thanks to a campaign implemented at the previous year's ceremony by a Hollywood legend. So it was a write-in. Hal Moore was honored by the Academy thanks to a unique campaign. While the 1935 film received mixed reception upon release, with criticisms directed towards its cast and performances, it has since been regarded as one of the best adaptations of the classic play. The dance sequences, musical soundtrack, and cinematography were highly praised for giving a believable interpretation of Shakespeare's comedy, and it received 4 Academy Award nominations, 2 for Best Art Direction and Best Cinematography. Then Hal Moore was one of the several write-ins at the 8th Academy Awards in 1936, the next year after it had won others. The Academy had initiated this campaign in 1935 after facing severe backlash for snubbing Bette Davis for nominations for her performance in Of Human Bondage. In response, the Academy allowed voters to write in their own nominations, and Davis was later added to the list of 1935 Best Actress nominees. She ultimately lost out to Claudette Colbert, or Colbert. Any relation? For her performance.
Maybe.
It Happened One Night. Now I'm going to have to check that out. So they stopped allowing the write-in, and now you have to fit a certain envelope of performance requirements. And by performance, I mean whatever it is that you're doing has to fit within a certain envelope for that. And it's not just like a blanket across all of them. I think each category has its own unique, but there's a minimum that you have to meet. So like documentaries, I think, have to be in certain places, because there's no way that a documentary is going to win an Oscar for Best Documentary when something else is. You're not going to have documentaries in 5,000 theaters. Okay, let's keep on going. The next article, again, is over in the Continuity Report, 10 Great Sci-Fi Movies Based on H.G. Wells' Stories. I'm just going to jump on over to the source. Again, it's Screen Rant, and Ben Gibbons is the author of this. And I'm going to go through it really fast. Number 10 is Island of Lost Souls, 1932. The Time Machine, 1960, which is a great watch. And has a tie-in to The Big Bang Theory. First Men in the Moon, 1964. War of the Worlds. This is the 2005 version of War of the Worlds.
Right. Wasn't it recently redone?
I don't remember.
No, I'm confused. Maybe
I think
not.
2005, yeah. Because there's a radio play. And it says
TV 2019.
2019?
But it was on TV.
TV. Oh, okay. Yeah. I didn't. Yeah. So this is actually a fun watch. Yeah, I don't know how to describe this, but War of the Worlds, the actual movie, was pretty neat. The original War of the Worlds was a radio play that actually provoked panic.
Right. I mean, it was like real world panic, right? People were like getting in their cars and freaking
calling
out.
The police and yeah. The Man Who Could Work Miracles. That is from 1937. I haven't watched this. This might be interesting. The story revolves around a man who is granted miraculous powers by the gods to perform impossible feats and prove humanity's worthiness. You know what this scene sounds like?
It reminds me of Festivus.
What's the movie where the guy becomes... he's given the power to basically act like a god, and he lets everybody win the lottery. Jim Carrey is the actor. What's his name? What's the name of the thing?
Is it The Mask?
No, my gosh, no. The Mask is about an ancient mask that he puts on. Oh my god, I can't remember the name of it. And then there's a knock-on one where the person that he basically makes go blah, 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 on the in the news, he becomes
Anchorman, Liar Liar.
You're just gonna rattle off all of the Jim Carrey movies?
Okay,
wait,
Bruce Almighty is
Bruce
the one
Almighty,
you were trying
thank
to
you.
find,
Yes.
I think.
Yes, Bruce Almighty. Anyway, this sounds a lot like Bruce Almighty, so that's pretty neat. The Invisible Man, 2020. I haven't seen this. I saw a previous version of it, but it is a Wells story. It's a lot of fun. And it says what the truth about gaining the power to turn invisible may look like. Depending on the adaptation, it brings out the psycho of people because nobody can see them, so they can do some pretty abusive things. Things to Come was released as a commentary on social and political developments, 1936. In society where these things could lead, where they could lead in the future, the shape of things to come, with elements of other stories thrown in. Yeah, it's pretty interesting. But I'd have to watch it. I haven't seen it. All of these are really fun and make me want to watch it. I've actually seen The Island of Dr. Moreau. And basically it talks about the ethics of medical experimentation. Second English language adaptation of The Island of Dr. Moreau was released almost 50 years after The Island of Lost Souls. The film made a valiant effort to adapt the original story, but perhaps because of how far special effects had come and other contemporary releases like Star Wars and Star Trek revealing how effectively special effects could be used. Burt Lancaster
I had no idea all of these were tied to H.G. Wells.
Yeah, pretty prolific, right? Mm-hmm. Burt Lancaster plays the titular. There it is again, Moreau. And the story continues to prove itself a faithful adaptation to the work that inspired it, but it's really about morality. Time After Time, 1979. It is the Time Machine. It's another Time Machine version. I'm really sorry. What's really interesting about the different versions of the Time Machine is they always have these little crystals and a key, because the key was the thing that allowed the person to activate the device, and that's what's written about.
Okay. Do you think that was for the viewers?
Oh, yeah.
So they could keep up?
It's basically to try and stay as faithful to the writing as possible, because people would sit there and get really pissed off if it wasn't being a little bit more honest with the book. And that's how it is today. And then The Invisible Man in 1933, it's another one of The Invisible Man, but older. It was a really neat watch. I have actually seen this, and oh, now I've got this little lock. I don't know what's going to happen because I've got another article. Anyway, it's a lot of fun to watch all of these. So got to make a list and then go back in history and fix these things. Okay, let's keep on going. I don't know what's going to happen with this next article because we've got others from Screen Rant, so it might be a hot mess.
Okay.
So the next article is over in Continuity Report, 10 TV shows currently airing that we think will be treated as classics in the future. It's difficult to know. Actually, did I throw the last one into the... No, I didn't. So you won't run into the problem with Screen Rant. I just don't log in, and so it becomes a problem. So the next article is 10 TV shows currently airing that they think Screen Rant thinks will be treated as classics in the future. With so many new shows premiering all the time, it can be difficult to search through the deluge of options, basically why I created ohmTown, to discover the true gems that will be watched for generations to come. So let's see if I get in trouble. Mary Castle is the author of the article. The Bear, 2022 is when it started. Fargo, I keep hearing great things about Fargo. I've watched the movie Fargo. True Detective.
Right, but this is the show, right?
Yeah. These are all TV shows that are currently airing. True Detective started in 2014 and is still going. The Last of Us, 2023. It's like a zombie movie or TV show, right? Video game adaptation. Yeah, The Last of Us. The Wake of the Apocalypse. Abbott Elementary, which I haven't seen a single episode of, started in 2021, but it's still going. Shrinking, I haven't seen an episode of that.
Not even familiar with that one. It's brand new.
Yeah, it's brand new. And I think that it's an Apple TV thing. Yeah, it's on Apple TV. The series is bitingly witty and provides a much needed insight into the growing industry of therapy. Poker Face, that started in 2023. Best known for his mystery films, Knives Out and Glass Onion, Johnson has been lauded for as a master of his craft. So this might be a fun watch. We might have to go and see that. It's over on Peacock, though. So prepare to subscribe to another streaming service.
Oh, gosh.
The Righteous Gemstones, 2019, created by Danny McBride. It's over on HBO Max. I think it's just called Max nowadays. I don't know. Follows the story of a family of greedy and ruthless televangelists, so I won't be watching it. White Lotus. It's over on Hulu and Max. Series explores the contrast between the guests and the staff at luxury resorts around the world. And Severance, which I've seen a couple of episodes of, and the way that it works is a person goes into this business, and while they're in the organization, the campus, the enterprise, they have a memory, but they don't remember their outside memory. They do their work, and when they leave, their memory returns of their outside world, but they don't remember their inside world.
Okay, that's odd.
Oh, damn it. Did it again. So they don't remember the outside life when they're at work and vice versa. So there you go. I didn't need the article to actually tell me that. So yeah, it's a fun watch. But it's kind of surreal in that this person starts coping with that fact. And I think that he gets memory leaks, but I didn't watch enough of it to really get into it. But I liked what I saw in the early episodes of season 1. So let's keep on going. We have a few more episodes, or a few more articles, 3 of them to be precise, 2 more from Screen Rant. So the next article is over in Continuity Report as well. Rust Armor's attorney-client texts mistakenly given to key witness.
Yeah, this is interesting.
Yeah, this is kind of a hot mess. So I know a little bit about this because I've been in the early part of the Rust litigation. There was kind of a breakdown of what happened. And Alec Baldwin fired the gun that had a live round through the lens of the camera, killing the camera operator.
Right, but this was on set.
This was on set. Yeah, this was during a shoot, ironically. And what ended up happening was the armorer who was supposed to be policing the set, somewhere during this, the continuity of operations of that set, had requested somebody bring live ammo onto the set. And she had been warned, if you bring live ammo onto the set, mistakes will be made and somebody will be hurt. And I guess it was poo-pooed. And this is exactly what happened. And there's a whole lot of conspiracy about why this happened, how it happened. The Rust case has been a bumpy ride for prosecutors as they face repeated setbacks over a series of blunders. As a special prosecutor revived charges against Alec Baldwin on Friday, obtaining a grand jury indictment in the shooting death of cinematographer Helena Hutchins. Yet another problem emerged in a related case. So Gene Mattis over at Variety.com put the article together. So Baldwin's co-defendant armorer Hannah Gutierrez Reed sought on Friday to have her case thrown out, citing the prosecutor's mishandling of attorney-client communications. The prosecutor, Carrie Morrissey, inadvertently turned over hundreds of text messages between Gutierrez Reed and her lawyer to a key witness last July. So,
whoa,
this is like witness tampering, and even if it is an accident, it's still a violation. Gutierrez Reed is set to go on trial next month for involuntary manslaughter and evidence tampering in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and she mistakenly loaded a live bullet into Baldwin's gun, which then fired, killing Hutchins and wounding the film's director, Joel Souza. Gutierrez Reed could face up to 3 years in prison if convicted.
This whole thing is such an odd set of events.
Yeah, they might actually talk about it in this article, but it's just shocking that an armorer would bring live ammo onto a set that doesn't require live ammo. You just do it in a different way. This is one of those testosterone things, I think. Hey, we can set some cans up on the set and shoot them. There's no reason to have live ammo, at least not in my opinion, but I'm not an armorer on a set. I do know an armorer. They're not a friend, but I know them online. And I'm curious. Maybe I can ask them one day, what they think of this.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
Quote, I believe very strongly in the attorney-client privilege and will consider anything you propose to suppress the communications, the prosecutor wrote to Bowles. Morrissey informed Bowles in an email on July 25th that she had discovered that the phone data she had received 2 weeks earlier included attorney-client texts. Once she realized that, she deleted her copy and did not review the messages, she stated. However, by the point, she had already provided the raw data to Kenny, who had requested it under the state's open records law. She then asked Kenny to delete his copy. Kenny said that he would do so, but stated that he had already sent the data to his lawyer, according to an email. So, yeah, in the grand scheme of things, this is actually just a technical punt. And it's kind of exploitive because the data is the data. But it can still...
and I suspect the data is going to come out. But yeah, it's still kind of prepping somebody depending on what they're seeing.
Right. So, but arguably, it shouldn't... This is what took place regardless of that witness. That witness actually may not be fundamental to that line of questioning.
Right. Oh, absolutely.
And that's how it's really couched, you can't ask questions that aren't set up in a way, I forgot
Like
the
without
term.
proper foundation.
Foundation material. Thank you. Yes. So you can't just blurt out, hey, what about those text messages? No. You have no foundation, and you're going to get somebody that says they object, and then the judge is going to.
There's going to be some interesting motions in this, I think.
Well, I think
because
that attorney
of this issue.
I think that attorney is probably having some motions right now in their bathroom. So let's keep on going. We have 2 more articles. The continuity report is the next articles. Reacher season 3 book has been chosen. Author confirms that it's a solo Jack story. So I don't want to talk about season 2. Anyway, it concluded on Prime Video. Great show. Season 1 is awesome. Season 2 is awesome. But it's because the author, the Lee, just has spectacular writing, and it makes me want to read the books. But Lee Child. There's 15 of them or something like that, or 30. How many are there?
I think there were 35, maybe.
A literal army of books. So Reacher author Lee Child confirms that the book for season 3 has been chosen, revealing a solo story for Alan Richson's titular character. Every article from Screenrant has it. Abdullah Al-Ghamdi is the author.
Looks like there's 28 books and a short story.
28
but
books.
There might be more because that was as of like 2022.
Reacher's Rules. I wonder if that's the short story.
Might be.
So in comments to The Messenger, Child confirmed that the book for Reacher 3 will see Jack Reacher on his own. Season 2, he has his special investigators wrapped around him. As they get picked off one by one, you'll have to watch the rest of it. I won't give any more away. It is a blast of a show, and what's his name? Sorry. Reacher's.
You're the author?
No.
Oh. Sure.
Alan Richson is a brick shithouse. This guy is just thick. If he were to punch me in the chest, I'm not particularly tiny, but if this guy would punch me in the chest, I would probably just kind of fold around him like so much dough. Okay.
Well, he had several scenes like where he would kick. What happened? He would kick a car and the airbag would go off or whatever. We're like, what?
Yeah. Big guy. Anyway, I guess he is living up to the Jack Reacher character, right? And everybody is kind of digging it. I don't know exactly if everybody is, but have you heard anything like negative about his character portrayal? I know that there's some people that are like,
I think the press and the reviews are generally in favor of his character.
Mm-hmm.
Although the storyline of season 2 has gotten some mixed reviews. I don't want to say too much because of spoilers, but
right. So apparently the story begins as Jack arrives in rural Nebraskan town late one night in a lowly motel bar. He overhears a drunk doctor who refuses to help a victim of domestic abuse. So for those worth dying for, fits the bill of a lone Jack Reacher story released in 2010. The novel has been described as one of the best in the series. Dear God.
Oh, wow. But this sounds like it's kind of going back to the season 1 style.
Yeah. What's really interesting about this is they're saying that the books aren't following the chronology of the book's releases. So hopefully it doesn't suffer from like a Firefly type of demise.
Yes.
But each season is a book, so it doesn't really matter, right? Apparently,
that's
season
true,
3,
and plus they can do some flashback type stuff as needed.
In this little chart here, it says that there's 2 books. Book number 2 is Die Trying, and Worth Dying For is book 15. So I'm not sure if that's a mistake, and that should be Reacher season 4.
Yeah, I don't know. That's on.
Yeah. So there's more over here at the Screen Rant article. Go and check it out. I think.
Oh, they're saying those are the two possibilities. That other one
Oh,
you were
gotcha.
mentioning, and then die trying. Sorry.
Gotcha. Oh, okay. So possibilities, but they said that the author confirms a Solo Jack story and that book 3 has been chosen, but they're not. But Lee Child, did not say what the book actually was. So people are like, "Oh, find a Solo Jack story," and they got 2 of them.
Exactly.
A target-rich environment with 28 or 29. There's apparently a 29th coming out. My God, so much there. I guess I'm gonna have to go look it up on Audible and see if I like the first story or the first book. Then I guess I'll just dive into the series.
It's gonna take a while to get through.
That's okay. Yeah, I'll never get through it. It won't happen. So our last article for tonight is in the Continuity Report channel over on ohmTown.com. 10 TV show pilots that perfectly set up the rest of the series. A TV show pilot is the make it or break it moment for a new series, so it's vital for the first episode to both be a comprehensive story from start to finish and leave audiences and, most importantly, the network wanting more. While a pilot is allowed to be a draft of the future series when it comes to storylines and characters, it's even better if it ends up being the closest representation of the show. For instance, Scrubs' pilot, titled My First Day, accurately set the scene for the medical comedy drama. So Margarita Askarova put this article together over at ScreenRant.com. And it says here, the deck statement says, the way a pilot sets the tone and introduces characters matters in the long run, and some episodes, like Supernatural's pilot, are exemplary. And I actually did like Supernatural's pilot. I thought that it was great. But 15 years worth of episodes. I don't know. There's a lot of, a podcast would be great about it, but it would just be me. So a TV show pilot is the make it or break it moment. So let's see. Pilot of Supernatural called Pilot. It was actually great. I really liked it. The pilot determined the initial dynamic between the Winchester brothers, and that would fuel the plot for a few seasons. Basically, they witnessed a death in a supernatural way, and they never stopped. So Game of Thrones, winter is coming. Game of Thrones had viewers hooked from the first episode, and then it just went to shit as the seasons went on. Yeah, we don't talk about season 8. Californication, I haven't seen it. I've wanted to, but it says Hank Moody. It's called Pilot, so Hank Moody was never a good person, and he certainly wasn't a role model in the pilot, yet it set the tenor of the show. Struggling, messed up writer, somewhat likable character who was easy to root for. Stranger Things, Chapter 1, The Vanishing of Will Byers. The Duffer Brothers' brilliant writing made the first episode truly outstanding. It hasn't relented. I've always liked every episode of Stranger Things. I'm waiting for the final season to drop. I think that they're still finishing it. We know that basically all hell has broken out, literally cracking open the town. Go check it out. Desperate Housewives, it's just called Pilot. The first episode cleverly showed off the residents of Wisteria Lane and hinted at each of the main character struggles as they came to reevaluate in light of recent events. Not really into that kind of a show. 70s Pilot, that 70s show. In that 70s Pilot, Eric and Donna shared their first kiss, and Kelso and Jackie their first almost split, and both of these dynamics would prove to be long-standing. It was 8 seasons, and everybody loved that 70s show, pretty much. Brooklyn Nine-Nine's pilot actually was awesome.
Okay. Yeah, that one's really good. The whole series.
Yep. The only time where I was like, oh, Brooklyn Nine-Nine was the end. And it's because it jumped the shark. They started having babies. And I'm like, oh my God. Exactly. As soon as you do that, you might as well start selling your stock. Oh my gosh, that would be a fun game, right? shares of stock in TV shows based on their engagement numbers. Captain Raymond Holt took over the 99th precinct, and he was overcome with joy. A Study in Pink for Sherlock, that was the pilot episode, laid the foundations of Sherlock's visual style and language, and the engagement between Sherlock and Moriarty. It's pretty standard fare. My First Day of Scrubs is number 2. We already talked about that. There's a lot of theories about this. The daydreaming was actually because he had a fractured personality, and he thought that it was real, but it was actually just daydreaming.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I thought it was just pure comedy.
I don't know. I mean, it's such an old show in the grand scheme of things that I don't know how many people were actually saying that nowadays or then. And it's been so long that I kind of forgot. And then the pilot of Community, everybody really loved Community. It says it was a silly series in the best sense of the word. It didn't treat anything or anyone too seriously, which was both its unique hook and its biggest disadvantage. And Britta was its victim, I guess. I don't know what that is. I never really got into Community, but I think that I might like it now because all 6 seasons are available and I can just binge watch it. The experimental storytelling.
It's the only way to watch TV.
Yeah, definitely. But maybe I'll like it now. It seems like it might be a fun watch, so maybe we'll take a gander at it. Anyway, that's all of the continuity report today. I didn't run afoul of Screen Rant's gatekeeping on this one.
Good.
So we jump back into the party bus, drive back down Main Street. And here we are again at the Continuity Report channel. So we have a bunch of channels. There's 50 total. One of them, the Continuity Report, is right here. And when you click it, it refreshes this page and says, hey, here are some new articles that you can go and read a little snippet of. And if you want to, when you click on it, it'll take you here. Once you are logged in, you'll be able to save it. You can subscribe to it. You can follow the source. You can go visit the source, and or you can reply, and a conversation can take place right here. Ta-da! The only ad we have is the one at the bottom of the page. I don't ask for personal information. I don't sell your information. Go and check it out. Become a member of ohmTown, a citizen of ohmTown, and I would really appreciate it. And that's it. Ta-da! I am Mayor Watt. That is ohmTown.com, and up there is the sentient AI that is tolerating me at the moment. You want to say bye?
Good night, ohmTown citizens. We will see you tomorrow for ohmTown Daily and next week for Continuity Report and Reality Hacker.
And a whole mass of episodes coming out because we had to play catch up. Or catch up. Yep. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye. Why did it not play?